What's up, everyone? Welcome to episode 83 of Pinnacle FC. I'm Wheels. He's Osgathorpe. We're going to walk you through the weekend that will be across European football's top domestic leagues. And beyond leagues, it's FA Cup fifth round weekend as well. How's your week, Jake? I mean, your column has been on flames in terms of your player props. We have a little bit of a different approach on this podcast, but let the good times roll. Champions League next week as well. You can look forward to a podcast dropping, I believe, on Monday, which will preview the next round of the Champions League as well, where there's a number of familiar fixtures at play, but definitely the Champions League involvement will influence some of my picks and plays for this upcoming weekend. Are you feeling the same way?
Yeah, 100%. Whether that's teams that are playing in the Champions League, perhaps to get knocked out of the FA Cup, or to field weaker teams, which results in maybe them conceding when we're not expecting them to. I definitely think it has a bearing. And don't forget, most of the teams that are playing in the FA Cup and have Champions League, they're playing this week as well, midweek. Like, the schedule's just been so stacked. And dropping the FA Cup in this week in particular, in between a midweek Prem and a midweek Champions League, seems a little bit naughty by the FA. It's almost like they're trying to get a few upsets. They're just trying to give those lower league teams a chance with a bit of extra rest. But yeah, I think that the riches in the Prem are too much to overcome. But you never know.
And it's an awkward one because the one side that the FA is trying to give a little bit more of an advantage to with an extra day off is Liverpool, but they play the same team that they played on Tuesday in back-to-back ties. Well, very, very weird. We'll get into it all. Remember, all the markets that we use are courtesy of Pinnacle. Bet smart, bet Pinnacle. Please subscribe, like this podcast. Our numbers continue to grow, so we thank you for that. And please get involved in the chat, whether it's on our subreddit page, Pinnacle Sportsbook, or through our social media channels. So let's get off and running, and we'll start with the FA Cup. The teams that I mentioned that's playing Liverpool is Wolves, who actually beat Liverpool 2-1 on Tuesday. I'm not sure if it's a Rob Edwards factor, but we've been tracking Wolves and we've been backing them on a regular basis for the past 4 to 6 weeks, I would say, pretty consistently, Jake. They've been a side that have brought results. Liverpool, although they've been able to pull off some results over the course of the process, I mean, it hasn't been straightforward at all for Liverpool. Now they get the same team that they lost to on Tuesday, and yet Liverpool, who have Champions League commitments next week, are still a goal and a quarter favorites on the handicap, which really surprised me. If you watch the way that game play out, well, Wolves were competitive throughout and full marks for going on to win the game outright. Is there another potential upset in the cards here? Wolves and Liverpool in the FA Cup this weekend.
Yeah, 100%. I think this is a great opportunity for Wolves. He did rotate a little bit, Rob Edwards. I thought he might rest a few more, given that they're playing back-to-back, and just hold a few of his key players, keep them fresh, because Liverpool have got a thin squad already, and they can't afford to drop points in the league. And like you said, they've got a Champions League game. It's not an easy game either. They've got to go all the way to Galatasaray. I think this is a great opportunity here. And just, we've mentioned it before, the way in which Wolves are defending at the moment. They're not giving up many chances. And most of the chances they did concede in midweek against Liverpool came from set pieces, which I think is something that Rob Edwards will brush up on, because he is a set-piece-oriented coach. Liverpool generated just 0.6 expected goals from open play, which is extremely low. And their goal was a gift as well. Let's not forget, Bellegarde passed it to Salah, who went and scored. I think there's a lot of reason to be optimistic about Wolves. Taking them on the handicap is a smart play, plus 1.25. So if they lose by a full goal, we still get some profit there. That's at -121. And I guess the thing that always sticks in my head about Liverpool is what Arne Slot was saying a few months ago. He openly admitted that they struggle against a deep block, which is basically what Wolves set up to do. They set up with a deep block, they kick it up to Akadare, and he has runners off him, and it causes all sorts of problems.
Galatasaray is going to be the exact same way. Galatasaray 100%. Already beat Liverpool in the Champions League 1-0, so it's a big game for them going away. My play is very similar. I'll just put it on the Asian handicap and bring it down to just one. plus a goal. Wolves on the Asian handicap at plus 109. That's where you avoid. I believe it's minus 123. No, minus 121 on the 1.25. So just get a little bit more juice and bring it down to one. It wouldn't surprise me if Wolves win outright. If they're playing at home again at the Molineux, I think they've developed some momentum. They're probably not going to finish last in the table anymore. Like, they put themselves in a position where they were like once upon a time like the worst team in Premier League history, but I think they have a good chance of maybe eradicating that label or shedding that label here down the stretch of the season.
Look, they're 11 points from safety. Like, they're probably not going to stay up, but they've still got to play West Ham. They've still got to play Leeds. Yeah. They've still got to play Tottenham. Win those, and you just never know. Like, they might be a lot better.
They don't even resemble like the mistakes that they were making early this season. Like, it was embarrassing, like really. But there's some good young players, and they're difficult to play against. They have speed and power and pace, and now that they have some semblance of organization, they've just been a much more complete outfit. So that's a way that I'm approaching it. Plus a goal in the handicap.
Definitely. Liverpool. I expect Liverpool to kind of try and do some rotating in this game as well.
They should. They should. Honestly, like, because that loss is a big one just in terms of league play. Like, we're recording this podcast on Wednesday. We're only about halfway through the Premier League fixtures for the match week. But, when we're talking about top four, they're still behind United. They're still behind Villa. Chelsea's going to try to chase them down. So the Premier League exceptionally important. Champions League is a priority. I just look at this one. Yeah, a time for Slot to completely rotate, blood some young players into the team. And I don't think that bodes well against what looks to be most likely a very strong Wolves side, just in terms of their selection. So,
and you flip it, and Wolves got nothing to play for other than the FA Cup.
Yeah.
So they've got a great opportunity if they wanted to for the rest of the season. They could just rest in the Premier League and just get themselves ready for these FA Cup games. So
would you back them outright? Plus 485 to qualify, plus 291 on Pinnacle.
No, I don't trust them just quite enough. I don't know if you've got enough goals in the team, and if it goes to penalties and you've got Alisson or if it's Mamardashvili in the net, I probably would back Liverpool, but. I definitely think they've got a great chance, and they'll be in this game. The way they're such a fine margin team, they're going to be in the game. Like, they very rarely get blown out unless they do something silly like they did against Chelsea and give away 2 penalties in the first half an hour.
Okay, what else across the FA Cup are you looking at this weekend?
The early Saturday game is Arsenal. They travel to Mansfield. You surely think Arsenal are going to win, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So in which case, it's either do they win to 0 or do they win and concede? And if you back them to win to 0, it's at minus 191. If you win them to back them to win and concede, it's plus 195. Now, I know which one I'd rather have a little nibble at.
Yeah.
The bigger price one, for sure. And there's some I'm not just guessing here. I mean, Mansfield, they've got goals in the team. Granted, they were fortunate to get through the tie against Burnley, but they've scored twice at Burnley. They scored 4 times at Sheffield United, who are an up-and-up championship team. And Arsenal, as we've said, they've got a midweek game at Brighton. Then they've got a Champions League game the following week. So they will be rotating, as they have done in the previous 2 rounds against Wigan and against Portsmouth. They conceded at Portsmouth. Wigan were just a shell of a team at that moment in time when they met. They just sacked their manager. So take that one with a pinch of salt. But I fully expect Mansfield to have a couple of opportunities here, and I think they could score. I mean, just across the last 10 matches, all competitions, Arsenal have conceded in 6 of them. Across the last 20, they've conceded in 13, and across the last 30, they've conceded in 19. Whereas away from home, they've conceded in 11 of the last 13. Now, I know a lot of those teams are a lot better than Mansfield, but a lot of the times Arsenal are playing a full-strength team as well, and not resting and not mixing it up, mix and match. So I just think at the price, it's worth a swing. And it wouldn't be a huge surprise to see them get a consolation. I said losing 3-0. Arteta calls off the dogs, probably maybe brings on a few younger players. Mansfield then grab a consolation as they push on late in front of their fans, or Mansfield come flying out the blocks, having had a free midweek, score early, and then get beat 3 or 4 like Portsmouth did in round 3. So, I just thought that for me, the best way to approach this is just to back a trend of Arsenal conceding, because they've made a habit of it recently away from home.
Okay. I'm not going to go there. I wish you luck with that play, but your logic is clear and it makes sense. What else? I mean, I think the fixture that most are looking forward to is Wrexham hosting Chelsea. Like, Wrexham still is in the conversation. They could be playing Chelsea in the Premier League next
They
season.
really
Like
could.
that is a realistic possibility. So this might foreshadow something. Look, it's a huge fixture for the Hollywood side, um, taking on the side that's American owned and seems to be flailing right now, just in terms of their direction, their output, and their overall play. The handicap is set at a goal and a quarter in this one as well, favoring the away side, the Premier League side in Chelsea. How are you looking at this one?
Probably the same as you in the sense that we could see an upset. I would not be at all surprised. This is definitely upset alert. Wrexham, like you mentioned, they're pushing. They're playing really well in the Championship. They're on a run of 10 wins in the last 15 across all competitions. They've lost just twice. And yeah, this Chelsea team, they just continue to shoot themselves in the foot by doing daft things or getting sendings off. And then you factor in they're playing away at Aston Villa, which is a massive game in the Premier League if they're to finish in the top 4, top 5. Then they're playing away at PSG in the Champions League. There's going to be you would imagine, heavy rotation for this game, and they don't really have the depth at the minute with injuries. So, yeah, it looks a great opportunity for Wrexham, and the qualify price is calling my name at plus 361. But I just have to back goals. Like, I think that's the smarter play here. It's just to back the over. At minus 123 over 3 goals. I mean, Wrexham's home matches recently have been mental for goals. Like, they've averaged 4 goals per game across the last 10. And Chelsea's games have averaged 3.5 per game since Rossini took charge. Wrexham, they're not a team that are going to sit back and counter attack and try and soak up pressure and hang on for dear life. They will fancy the chances of bloody in the nose and creating stuff themselves. So yeah, I think we definitely going to see plenty of goals here. And I would also have a look at both teams to score when that price comes available on Pinnacle. I expect it to be in a backable range because, I mean, as much as I expect goals, I do think both teams are going to hit the back of the net here because of the attacking quality on show.
Exactly. It's goals in this fixture. You explained it well enough, so I'll just leave that alone, and we'll continue move on in the essence of saving some time here. Newcastle City, I'm just not touching it. I mean, both teams just have too much on the line with their Champions League fixtures. I mean, Newcastle, Barcelona next week, Man City, and Real Madrid. I want nothing to do with this one. The play for them and the play that I banked a couple weeks ago in these two sides, man, like this is going to be the 4th or 5th time they played this year already, was both teams to score and over 2.5. And I mean, that looks to be a great bet, but like, I'm not touching this game. I think the Sunday fixtures are interesting because I think it should run straightforward. And this is time when I don't typically do parlays, but if you were to do one, I think you can do a little bit of a bet builder here and make it work. I think Southampton have been on good form, but they're traveling to Fulham. I think Fulham are going to go full tilt in this competition. I think this matters for the club. I think they're a really, really strong side this season. Sunderland, I mean, they're battle tested. They're safe in the Premier League. Like everything now is like bonus time. It's just gravy. So they're playing at Port Vale, who are like the bottom side in League One. I think that favors them. And then Leeds United bouncing back at home against Norwich City, who are still trying to crawl themselves out of a relegation battle in League Championship. I mean, that's where their priority. Leeds has been a really good team at home. I mean, I can't believe they didn't score against Sunderland midweek with so many chances and so much possession. So I think that if you can build that, Leeds to win, Sunderland to win, Fulham to win, you might have something there.
Yeah, I definitely agree on that one.
It's kind of chalk. It's kind of chalky. And it's great, but I when I look at those 3 games, I have a hard time seeing an upset in any of them. If I'm going to be honest, like I'm trying to figure out the trajectory to win, how good these teams are. Southampton are now pushing to try to be part of the playoffs, and try to bounce back up. They're working their way into that territory after a dreadful start to the season. So, Yeah, that's what I would do there. I
Yeah.
might end up having a little bit of a nibble, but nothing official for this podcast.
No, I like it. I definitely am on board with the Fulham and Sunderland picks because they don't have any other concerns in terms of like relegation, as you said. Yeah, I'm all over that with you. I have a bet for the Newcastle game. It's nothing to do
Oh,
with
do
the
you?
actual outcome. It's just purely to back cards because I think there's going to be quite a lot of them. Basically, like you said, they've played 4 times already this season. We've seen totals of 4, 8, 3, and 7 in terms of cards, and these two, it's just because of how technical City's midfield are and how kind of hardened and like bullyish the Newcastle midfield can be. I'm looking at Joe Linton there. And yeah, this is a big game. Like you said, I mean, there's nobody talking about Manchester City potentially winning a quadruple. Like, they're still in all 4 competitions. Like, they've got the Premier League in their hands. They're in the final of the Carabao Cup. Granted, they've got this tough game in the FA Cup and they've got a Champions League game against Real Madrid, but it's still on. And obviously, it's not been talked about. They had a trophyless season last season, so they're going to be determined to win a piece of silverware. So I think they're not going to go full strength, but some of their second string players are still very, very good. And they'll still play with the same amount of fight trying to get through here. And Newcastle the same. I mean, they're 13th in the table heading into this midweek round of fixtures. They're a good way off the European places. They got a taste for trophy winning a trophy last season with the Carabao Cup. I wouldn't be surprised if Eddie Howe goes full. I'm not going to say Unai Emery, but maybe Unai Emery of yesteryear, where he just cans the league and just goes all out to win the FA Cup and the Champions League. Which obviously the FA Cup Champions League games back to back is not ideal for that, but I wouldn't be at all surprised to see him go full strength or rotate in tonight. We're recording this on Wednesday, and then go full strength at the weekend next week. So I think it's going to be a real intense affair with quite a lot on the line for both teams, which I think could result in quite a lot of cards. And there's a decent ref appointment as well. Sam Barrett, who's averaged 3.7 cards per game this season. The line on Pinnacle set at 4 bookings at -106. If there are exactly 4, then we get our money back. And this bet would have paid out in 3 of the last 5 head-to-heads and pushed in 1. So, yeah, I quite like a repeat here.
Okay, that's it for me. With all due respect to West Ham Brentford, we should probably move on to La Liga, where another time where Real Madrid drops points again, losing last week, and all of a sudden there's a 4-point gap atop the La Liga table. What's funny about La Liga right now is you have your top 2, they're well ahead. Then you have another 2 in Atletico Madrid and Villarreal. Then there's a gap, and then there's everyone else. But largely, games have been much more competitive than advertised across the league. I think that the amount of football that some of the top sides are playing are leaving them vulnerable to some of the smaller sides to come away with results.
Especially with the amount of injuries that Real Madrid have got.
Yeah.
They don't have the squad to deal with the games
now.
Yeah,
it's.
Have you seen all the discourse going online? Like Alonso came in, sacked the what they call him, the physio, the doctor, got rid of him, and then Vinicius got rid of Alonso, and then they brought the same doctor back in, and they've got loads of injuries again.
Yeah.
It's like either he's sabotaging it or he's just letting them do whatever they want, and it's not.
I think they're just trying to spite me in my Real Madrid futures play in the Champions League, but that's okay. And they have City again. I'm trying to make it work in my brain that this is actually beneficial to Real Madrid, but the injuries are just starting to get a little bit frustrating. I still think they can do it. I will not be making a play on Real Madrid on this week's La Liga card.
I'll be taking Celta.
Are you taking Celta Vigo? I'm staying away. There's been Copa del Rey this week. A lot going on in Spanish football. I'll let you start then. You're backing Celta Vigo against Real Madrid here.
Yeah, Real Madrid, like their heads have gone, completely gone. I mean, anybody who watched that Monday night game against Getafe, like they were all over the place in terms of emotionally, physically. I mean, at one point, Vinicius lost the ball and then decided to start berating the crowd.
I mean,
it was like, what are you doing, man?
So frustrating. So frustrating.
So their heads are not in the game whatsoever. And yeah, obviously Arbeloa is the substitute teacher. They're basically doing whatever they want. And the Celta Vigo is a very tough place to go. You mentioned the looming Champions League game with Manchester City as well, but since the winter break, Celta Vigo have only lost 2 of 13 in all competitions. They've
But
won 8
isn't that reflected in the market? Like they're a home dog by a quarter of a goal. Like
Yeah,
I'm with you. I it's just not enough juice for me to back. Like,
but this Real Madrid team are not like they carry the name of Real Madrid, but they're
yeah,
so easy to play against. They've got so many injuries. They're missing their best striker. They're missing their best midfielder. The defense is still a shambles. Like nobody's doing any tracking back. No one's doing any work like other than Valverde and Tchouameni. Like they're not a team. They're just a group of individuals. And Celta Vigo are a good team. I think they deserve to be this kind of price. And yeah, they've won 6 of the last 7 at home in all competitions and beat Real Madrid in the reverse game. So there's a lot going for Celta, and Real Madrid, wounded animal. They've got you know what Real Madrid are like with the Champions League. They have such an affinity. They'll have one eye on that Manchester City game. They'll not want to pick up any more injuries before that. They'll, if the best they can, they'll try and run as little as possible and save themselves for that home tie against City. And yeah, Celta Vigo, they're right in the mix for Europa League qualification. Only 3 points behind Real Betis now, in 6th. And like you said, because of the congested schedule, these middle class teams, your Celtas, Sociedad, Bilbao, they're very capable of taking points off the big boys, and we are seeing it quite a fair bit recently.
yeah. If anything in this game, Real Madrid do have strength in numbers in terms of defensive players back in this team. I lean to the under 2.75 at -114. Again, just none of the numbers basically track with my numbers.
They're missing. I'm just looking now Monday. So Huijsen is suspended for this, and so is Carreras, and obviously Mascherano.
Mendy will come into the team.
You would hope so.
He's fit. He's back on the bench. I get all the concerns, but I think that they still have enough talent that if they go out and get a result here, I wouldn't be surprised if it was a 1-0. I get everything that you said. I just can't fully get on board based on the numbers. If this was a handicap set at half a goal, 3/4 of a goal, to back the home side, I would. Just at a quarter of a goal, I'm just not quite there. Yeah, that's it. Anything else in La Liga?
Yeah, I'll have a nibble on the over in Atletico versus Sociedad.
Yes,
at -119, which the line looks probably half a goal too low, really, given how goal heavy Atletico have been and Sociedad have been.
It's because Sociedad last week played it was a boring 1-0. Both of us were on the over. I'm just not going to predicate what happened last week, compared to what happened like the 6 weeks before that. I won't. And Atletico Madrid, I mean, they score, they concede. It's just both these teams have brought the goals this season.
Yeah, and for all we know, like Sociedad might have taken the foot off the gas last week, knowing that they've got a Copa del Rey semi-final second leg against their Basque rivals in midweek, and that's where the priorities are. And same with Atletico. I mean, my handicap play did land against Oviedo because it was at 1.25, so made a profit. But yeah, they had that game against Barcelona, which was just hilarious. Did you see Simeone's press conference?
I didn't see it. No, I didn't see it.
Before the game, it was like, so have you got any plans to deal with Barcelona's high line? He basically said, no, not really. We're not going to attack. And then he just stopped. That's it. So
when you're up 4-0, you really don't have to attack.
If they score one more, the game's over.
Yeah, exactly. But they didn't. They didn't. So
no, they were hanging on for dear life. They lost 3-0 and survived.
The only other question, I'm just when you're looking at the markets, I'm backing the goals. Both teams to score plays at -115. I mean, I think that is decent.
That's probably a better bet.
And both teams to score and over 2.5 comes in at +137. So if you want to get a little bit more value there, I think the way that I was going to play it was both teams to score at -115.
Yeah, I'll follow you there. I think that's the better angle. A 1-1 wouldn't be a surprise.
Yeah. Anything else in La Liga?
Yeah. I'm going to take a swing on Villarreal.
I like the board here.
Villarreal to win and both teams to score against Elche. It's at +203. So we know Villarreal have been a very strong home team in general. 10 wins in 13. But if you look at recently, they have become a little bit easier to score against. So 4 of the last 5 home wins have seen them concede as well. So this bet would have won in 4 of the last 5 home wins. The other win came against Getafe, which we know don't really score a lot. And then within that run of games, they lost to Real Madrid and Barcelona. So everybody else basically in the league, they've been beaten at home. And Elche are winless and terrible away from home. They've lost 8 of 12, but they have scored in 10 of the 12 away games, which is interesting. And it does make me think that this price jump from Villarreal to win at minus 206 to plus 203 when you had both teams to score looks a pretty big piece of value.
Yep. Villarreal aside, they're at home, correct? They're at home.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a different scenario than playing at home than playing away. Completely different. How about Girona on the draw no bet at minus 119 at Levante? Like, again, this is recency bias. I know it's only minus 119. I wouldn't talk anyone off betting Girona outright at plus 155 either. Levante won last week at home, but against, I believe it was Alaves, but a player was sent off for their opponent in the 61st minute, and they scored in the 88th and 91st to win 2-0. I mean, I think 97th minute. I mean, I just, Alaves had like 15 or 16 shots in that game. Like, Levante aren't a very good team. This was a team at home, desperate for a win, that had circumstance on their side. Girona's been a competitive away side for the better part of the last 3 months. So I just definitely think that there's some value in backing the away side here on the draw no bet.
Just to add to that, I mean, your assessment's completely right. I mean, the first half of that game, Levante versus Alaves, Levante had 3 shots to Alaves' 13. And they were all over them possession wise, more big chances, more shots on target. So they were getting panned basically before the red card.
Yeah. Letdown spot for Getafe, I'll say as well. They take on Betis, who just can't get a win over the line. Like, they've been playing well enough. They've kind of ruined my day a couple times over the last few weeks. But why don't we just take that the threat of a draw out of the equation and play Betis on the draw no bet at minus 109? Our friends at Understat, like, their expected point total away from home is third best in La Liga. So they've been good on their away travel. A reminder, the total for this game is set at 2. So it's supposed to be tight, low scoring. I'll take the chance that Betis just wins this outright. A 1-0 would do me fine, but I'll play the draw no bet at minus 109. And the other nibble I will take, I don't like it as much as the other games that we mentioned. Valencia being a great home side all year. They take on Alaves again at plus 111. I think it's worth the nibble of Valencia at home in that game, but that won't make my board, but something that is absolutely on my radar. That's it for La Liga for me. Shall we move on to Serie A, where the marquee fixture this weekend could potentially be a title decider? It's the Milan derby, AC Milan, Inter Milan. I'm a little bit surprised by the market in this game that Inter are such a favorite in this game. Can you make sense of that? AC Milan is a quarter of a goal underdogs on the handicap, which I kind of can't square. Perhaps you have a better read on this than I.
Yeah, I looked at it and thought the price was probably fair. If anything,
really?
it should be a bit shorter. Yeah, Inter the best team in the league by a country mile.
I don't think so. I disagree. Anyways, continue.
And the home field advantage is somewhat negated because they share a stadium.
Completely.
So, I've got no bet here. The only thing I was going to go into to win, the only thing that's kind of put me off is the recent head-to-head meetings. Milan have got a very good head-to-head record.
Exactly.
But Inter, I mean, the way in which they're going, it's very hard to see anybody beating them in Italy at the moment. I mean, everyone on the continent can beat them, but not in Italy. And Milan have been a little bit stop-start recently. They've had a couple of weird performances against, obviously losing to Parma was a bad one. I just don't know if there's enough goals in their team to be able to outscore Inter, because I think Inter will score a couple here.
Maybe no Lautaro Martinez is like a game changer. I'm sorry, like, they're not the same. I know they've won their last 6 in Serie A. They also played a semifinal in Coppa Italia yesterday against Como. They play Atalanta next. It's been a difficult run. Like, recent weeks, like, their wins have come at home against Genoa, away against Lecce, a controversial win against Juventus, where the sending off in that game just was completely nonsensical. 10-man Sassuolo they beat. Cremonese, they beat, like they've had all of these games were either circumstance or they played poor opponents over the course of that stretch. You mentioned it. They haven't beat AC Milan in the last 6 times they played. And AC Milan, like they just haven't had been bogged down with these extra competitions, which has kind of led to this. Again, if Lautaro Martinez is playing, I'm probably staying away from this, but I'm definitely making a pro AC Milan play in this. I'll play it straight up on the handicap, quarter of a goal at minus 103. I look, every week I feel like I'm on the wrong side of these AC Milan games. This might be one of them again, but I can't wrap my head around the market for this one. It just doesn't make a lot of sense, especially based upon the recent head-to-head. Okay, so if you don't want to go there, what do you see? What do you like in Serie A this weekend?
The only game I like is Bologna versus Verona. Bologna are short favourites, minus 173, but I think backing them to win to nil at plus 147 could be a way in. They had a really bad run after the Italian Super Cup. They won just 2 of 12, conceded 21 goals, but they've tightened the screws recently. They've looked a lot better. Won 5 straight in all competitions, and all of the last 4 have come to nil. And in those 5 matches, they've conceded a grand total of 2.5 expected goals. So that's 0.5 per game. Now get to play against the worst team in the league, Verona, winless in 13, 10 defeats in that run, and they failed to score in 5 of those losses. I think this bet would have won in 3 of the last 6 away games as well. And that's despite a favourable schedule. They've played 4 of the teams around them as well. So yeah, I think this is going to be one of those games where Bologna just kind of ease to a 1 or a 2-0 victory against what looks to be a Serie B team in waiting. I mean, they're 9 points from safety with not very many games left.
Okay. There's a couple other matches on my radar. Let's go Udinese on the handicap. 3/4 of a goal at plus 111 at Atalanta. Atalanta's playing Wednesday in the Coppa Italia against Lazio. Then they have a game that they need to come away with some kind of result midweek against Bayern Munich in the Champions League. Udinese is coming off a great result. They smashed Fiorentina 3-0. The XG was good. They've been playing better as of late, 3 wins in their last 6. I just think based upon circumstance, if you're going to give me a 3/4 of a goal head start, I'll back the away side there. Juventus has been great to watch just in terms of the goals. They're a little bit of a nightmare defensively. There's only one way to approach Juventus games is back in the over. It's over 3 as they're at home against Pisa. Nothing else to play for Juventus at plus 107. I was looking at Juve to win over 2.5, but your best value is just betting the total in this game. And so Swallow, the second best team just in terms of the form table in Serie A, I got to back them here. It's a Monday fixture against Lazio, who once again are playing a Coppa Italia tie. You can back them on the handicap plus 1/4 of a goal at even money. I think there's some real value there. So Swallow have been they've been one of the best stories in Serie A all season long. They've been very good, competitive in virtually all their fixtures. And Lazio is just a team that average at best, Jake. I mean, I don't even know if you want to call them average. So, that'll be my other play nibble that I'll be making for the Monday fixture there. Any other comments, or shall we move on to Bundesliga to wrap things up?
Yeah, let's head to Germany.
All right. 3 games that are catching my attention in 3 games only. I wonder what you're seeing for the slate this weekend.
Just one for me, which is Freiburg taking on Bayer Leverkusen. Good old trusty friends in Freiburg, who are probably one of the better home teams in Europe.
Except last weekend away against Eintracht Frankfurt. That was...
Never trust them away.
Other than that, but at home.
Yeah, at home. Yep, how are you doing? They are absolutely flying at home. Like they're motoring. Unbeaten in 15 across all competitions, winning 12 of those. They're on a run of 10 wins in an unbeaten in 11, with the only game they failed to win being against Dortmund. Leverkusen, this is a good spot for Freiburg against Leverkusen, because not only have Leverkusen got a Champions League game next week against Arsenal, but they also play this midweek in the Bundesliga against Hamburg. They've got a bit of a schedule overload ahead of that Champions League game, and it's just 1 win in 4 league games headed into that Hamburg game for Leverkusen. and 1 win in 4 away, with 2 defeats in the last 4 on the travels as well. So it looks like a good spot once again to get Freiburg on side. You can actually back them draw no bet at plus 111, or back them straight up if you're brave at plus 191.
Yeah, I like the plus 111. I'll be taking that and making that play. I think there's great value in backing Augsburg. Like, this team has won 5 of their last 6 games very quietly against some good teams, including Bayern Munich over the course of that stretch. They've won away at Bayern Munich. They won at home against St. Pauli. They won at home against Heidenheim. They won away against Wolfsburg and at home against Cologne. They take on RB Leipzig, who have been very erratic just in terms of their results. They lost at home against Mainz. They drew Wolfsburg. They drew Dortmund at home, which they gave up a 2-goal lead in that game. And they just won away at Hamburg, which chalk that down for a good win. The thing is, you can back the team that's won 5 of the last 6 on the handicap at plus a goal and a quarter. That's good enough for me to want to get involved there at minus 102. Just don't sleep on these teams that continue to get good results in the Bundesliga. I believe Augsburg made a managerial change and things have been a lot better there. My only other nibble is the Friday fixture, Bayern Munich against Borussia Mönchengladbach. Like, look, Bayern Munich continue to concede goals, but there's a Champions League fixture ahead this week. They play a Mönchengladbach side who struggled to create goals. That they scored a late penalty to get a much needed victory last week, and I think that Bayern Munich win to 0 is maybe worth a little bit of a play here at plus 123. They beat Mönchengladbach 3-0 away from home in the reverse fixture. I think that it's one of those where you kind of feel like they're due. They're conceding goals either on set pieces, which Mönchengladbach aren't a great set piece team, or completely against the run of play on the counterattack. I think by virtue that there will be some rotation, I think it might be a little bit more tight just in terms that company will play just with the Champions League game ahead next week, that at a plus number, a decent plus number, I think that's worth a little bit of a nibble as well. So that's it for me. Anything else to add, Jake? Anything else elsewhere across Europe?
No, nothing this week. That's all
Okay.
a lot.
All right. Time for the big board time. 5 plays, up to 5 plays, and up to 5 units to spend. How are you divvying that up?
As usual, wrestling with a couple of picks. I am going to put a unit on Villarreal to win and both teams to score against Elche at plus 203. I'm going to take Bologna to win and both teams to score no against Verona, plus 147. I'm going to take Arsenal winning both teams to score at plus 195 as well. I just think that price jump is too big. I'm going to do a unit on over 4 bookings in Newcastle versus City at minus 106. And the final unit is going to go to Celta Vigo on the handicap against Real Madrid at plus 104. So that's a quarter of a goal.
Okay. I got to do something for the FA Cup. Let's do the best play. Asian handicap, Wolves plus 1 against Liverpool. The team selection will determine whether that is a play that works or whether it's foolish, but I think you're getting value there with a goal head start. Let's back Girona at Levante at the draw no bet at minus 119. We'll go Atleti and Sociedad, both teams to score at minus 115. This is where it gets tough for me. I'll definitely be making the Freiburg play at home. Come on, Freiburg at the draw no bet at plus 111. And one more. Is it Betis? Is it Udinese? Let's go Udinese on the handicap plus 3/4 of a goal at plus 111, even though Real Betis is screaming my name. Those will be my plays, 5 plays. Remember to like this podcast, subscribe. We'll be back Friday. And this may be posted over the course of the weekend or Monday, but keep an eye out for our Champions League look ahead as well. Good stuff, Jake. Best of luck this weekend. Enjoy the FA Cup.
Likewise, yeah. Hopefully we get a few upsets, but not on the Saturday, just the Sunday. No, not on the Sunday, just the Saturday. I got my days mixed up.
Just the Saturday and Friday as well. The Friday, Saturday upset. So then Sunday
Wolves versus Liverpool 2.0.
A nice chalky Sunday would help. Thank you all for tuning in. I'm Wheels. He's Osgood Thorpe, and this has been episode 83 of Pinnacle FC.